Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is BHAMBRA here for PSB Sports. I'm very happy to be joined on the line now by world champion trainer. We've got Peter Fury with us today. Peter, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good to hear, Peter. Well, I mean, one place only to start, really. Obviously, we've got Hughie Fury's massive fight against Kubrat Pulev coming up in Bulgaria in a few weeks. Firstly, Peter, how's everything been in training so far? Are you happy with preparations ahead of fight night?
Yes, everything's gone well. He's had a very hard camp, so you know all the hard work's done now. He's in final week. He'll do some sparring next week, but that's all he'll do. Just taking over, really, just working on his timing and stuff. But all the hard work's been done. Absolutely,
and obviously, you know, Kubrat Pulev is a very experienced heavyweight veteran. He's been around the game for a long time, obviously. Meant to fight Anthony Joshua, fought against the likes of Vladimir Klitschko and many others. How are you preparing for the style that Kubrat Pulev possesses, Peter?
Well, we've worked on a lot of things in the gym, and you'll see on the night. But you know, we'll just see how it goes. But he's physically, mentally fully prepared for this fight. He's in the best shape of his career, and he's prepared to go full, whatever it takes, 12 rounds.
And obviously, after the Joseph Parker points defeat, we saw a much more, you know, aggressive Hughie Fury for the British title against Sam Sexton. Obviously, you know, Hughie was on the front foot most of that fight, really pressing the fight against Sam Sexton, and he seemed a lot more aggressive, and there seemed to be a lot more zip and power in his shots. I mean, is that sort of aggressive style something you're hoping to bring on fight night, bearing in mind he is now actually fighting abroad, so, you know, going to the judges' scorecards could be a bit risky abroad?
I'm not even considering that. The main thing is that Hughie performs at his best under no stress, and you know, he's a world-class boxer, and I believe his power has come on a lot over the recent few years, and I believe it's his time, and I'm hoping we're going to see a very good performance on the night.
Of course, absolutely, and obviously it's been just over a year now since he fought Parker for the world title, Peter, back in Manchester. So I think 23rd of September 2017 that was. So, I mean, how would you say, you know, Hughie's progressed as a fighter and obviously as an individual, as a man? He's obviously a year older now. He's fought in between that fight. How do you think he's progressed over the last year?
Well, I think he's progressed well. You know, he's you know, you got my thoughts on that fight, but that's just. I think he's come on a lot better. He's putting his shots together a lot better. He's using more of the ring. So he's doing quite a lot. Obviously, we've worked on a lot of stuff. And yeah, the improvements are going to be there to see. It's all right me talking about it. But on the 27th, you know, the world will get to see just how much he's come on and what he's capable of doing. And that's why we've had a very hard training camp behind closed doors. And you'll see on the night.
Of course, absolutely, and obviously, you know, I'm sure you've got an eye on some of the other heavyweights in the division. I know Joshua obviously recently defeated Povetkin. I know you're obviously only focusing on Kubrat Pulev. That's a big fight in itself. But how are you assessing, you know, some of the other heavyweights out there at the moment? How have you sort of, you know, obviously there has been the Joshua fight, and obviously there's talks about who, you know, Joshua might fight next and whoever else. But how have you, you know, sort of assessed and seen the heavyweight scene over the last 6 to 8 months?
There's a lot of good heavyweights out there, so. You know, I can assess whatever I like. It's two men that's got to get in the ring ultimately and fight. First of all, we've got to get past Pulev, and when that happens, whatever the next best fight comes up, we'll be taking.
Of course, and obviously, you know, what were your thoughts on that fight, Peter, with Joshua and Povetkin? Did you manage to watch it?
I did. I saw it. I wouldn't miss it. It was exciting, and. You know, people fail to realise that Povetkin had 200 plus amateur fights. He was a gold medalist, and he's done very well in his professional career. He's fought some of the best in the world, and he can punch, and he's got great boxing skills. So it was a good fight. It was never going to be easy. And if you look back at my comments, I always predicted Joshua would get to him, but in mid to late rounds, and that's exactly what he did, because he's not a pushover, Povetkin. So I thought it was a good fight, and you know, once again, you know, Joshua come through it, and he got the job done. So you can't ask any more than that.
Of course, I mean, also Peter, in hindsight, do you believe that prior to that fight happening, Povetkin was arguably Joshua's toughest test? Because people were saying it could have been Klitschko, but a lot of pundits and boxing experts, so-called, were arguing that, you know, Klitschko was out of the ring a year and a half. He was a lot older, whereas someone with Povetkin, he was active. He was on a win streak. He just defeated David Price. So, do you believe in hindsight that was actually Joshua's toughest test today, or would you disagree?
It'll be one of them. Look, you know, when you're a world champion and you're fighting, you know, in the top 5 in the world, you know, number 2s, number 1s, they're all hard fights. Tell me somebody who's you know, been a WBA world champion, fought everybody. Tell me who's going to give him an easy fight. You know, there is no easy fights out there. Every fight's a hard fight. So, it doesn't matter how they win, as long as they get the win, because anybody on a world level, there's no one going to be an easy fight. They're all going to be difficult fights, not unless they walk into a lot of trouble early on and they get blasted out of there by making a mistake on the world scene. And, you know, with the team they've got at the back of them, that seldomly happens. So I predict that, you know, all these fights are hard fights. So if Joshua gets it a bit sticky and he has a bit of a hard fight, people's jumping up and down on it. But what do you expect? You know, he's fighting world level opposition, so it's going to be, there is 2 fighters in there, not just one.
Of course, and you know, one other heavyweight I want to ask you about as well is Joseph Parker. Obviously, I know he lost to Dillian Whyte in a close, very, very close, but tough fight that was. And he's announced that he's coming back actually in December in Christchurch. What was your? I mean, I know obviously Parker's now, he's suffered back-to-back losses, but I mean, do you believe he's young enough and strong enough to maybe come again and launch an assault on the heavyweight division?
Yeah, I think Parker's got to drop the nice guy image, and he's got to fully understand that it's not a boxing match. You know, he's got to be prepared to dig deep. You know, he's got all the guts in the world. He's just looks at it. He's a very nice young man.
Yeah.
And I think Parker, he's just got to get that mean streak in him. I think once he gets that, I think it is in him to do it. But he's got to like look at this boxing under a different light. I think once he does that, I think he can come back. You know, he's young, and I think he can do big things. Yeah, of course.
Fair enough. And one more final thing before we finish off. I wanted to ask you about Billy Joe Saunders. I know obviously recently he's been stripped of his world title. There's been many sort of like deliberations as to was it fair or unfair. Have you managed to see that story, Peter, at all?
To be honest, I haven't. I've been in training camp with my son. I've been more or less off all the medias. The only thing I will say, it's sorry to hear that he's lost his belt in this way, and that's all I can say about it, because I've not spoke to anyone, and I don't know anything about it, so I'm not going to comment on it. So to be fair, it's none of my business, so it's nothing to do with me, so I'm not going to comment on it.
Definitely, and obviously, you know, focusing back now on Hughie, I know obviously it's all, obviously everyone in the media asked Peter if Hughie wins, what's next. So I'm going to be devil's advocate. Obviously, I have to ask you, I mean, have you and Mick got some sort of, you know, like a plan mapped out maybe for the next 6 to 8 months? Because if Hughie does win this fight, Peter, he is obviously a #1 contender for the world title. So I know you don't like to look past this fight, but is that something that you have dreamed and thought about, that he could be fighting for a world title again very soon?
Yeah, exactly. You know, we're not going to be held to ransom and just sit on it and wait on a world title. If that world title comes, I've just said before recently, we'll take it. You know, if that, you know, if Joshua's team has got nobody to fill the fight and they fancy it with Hughie, of course, you know, pick up the phone and we'll do it straight after. So, or if it's not available for whatever reason, we'll just we'll fight someone else. So, like I said, he's coming, Hughie, and first of all, it's Kubrat Pulev on the 27th.
Absolutely. And have you got any final closing words, Peter?
I I hope everybody enjoys the fight, and you know, thanks for all the support. And you know, he's doing the best he can, and that's all I can tell you. Let's not talk, and let's just do. So this is it. We'll go over there. Well, I'm expecting a great fight.
Definitely, absolutely. Well, Peter, we certainly wish the team and Hughie the best of luck against Pulev in Bulgaria. All the best for the rest of camp, and fingers crossed we can speak to you very soon.
Thank you very much. All the best.